Okay, so what we're going to do now is just put some of these formulas to the test with some sample problems. We've got 4 problems here to try. And so the first thing we're going to do is just go ahead and write down our formula. Okay, so we have the surface area, because it's asking us to find the area, is the lateral area plus 2 bases. So I always like to start by just writing down my formula. Lateral area plus 2 bases. And then I go a little bit further to say that the lateral area is found by doing the perimeter times the height plus 2 bases. And since the bases of the figure give it its shape, this one is a rectangular figure. And these are the 2 bases because they are what gives this whole column, so to speak, its shape. So this one is not sitting on the 2 bases, and those are the 2 parallel ends, but we find the area of those 2 bases by doing length times width. So now I know what I need to find. I have all the information. I have everything that I need to find here. So to do perimeter, you have to calculate all the way around the outside edge of the figure times the height of the figure. So remember, this one's laying down. And since it's laying down, 10 is the height, okay? And then this is going to be my perimeter. So if this is 4, this side over here is, they're telling us, is 4. Then this side over here has to also be 4. And if this bottom is 5, then this top has to be 5. And if I add those all together, 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 4 is 14, plus 4 more is 18. I have perimeter 18 times the height of 10. So the lateral area is 180, okay? And I have to add that to the area of the 2 bases. So what I just found here, the 180, is actually these 4 walls that, if I add them all together, would give me 180. And now I have to add the top and the bottom to it, okay? So the area of this base itself, length times width, is going to be 4 times 5, right? And length times width, 4 times 5, gives me 20, and I need 2 of them. So I'm going to have 180 plus 40, which gives me a total of 220 feet squared. Remember, area is always in feet squared or squared terms, okay? So again, let's do it a second time, but this time we're going to figure out this is a triangular prism because the base is triangular, and that's what gives it its shape. We have 2 of them, 2 bases, okay? Again, it's laying on its side. So surface area equals the lateral area plus the 2 bases. And the lateral area is perimeter times height. And the bases this time are triangles. And the area of a triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. Or actually, a lot of you really like doing, and I'm fine with you writing it this way too, you like to do base times height and divide it by 2. And that's okay. You can do it that way too. So let's first figure out the perimeter. So remember, if I'm trying to find the perimeter of the figure, that's the distance around the outside edge, right? So I have my hypotenuse here at 5, and I have this distance here at 4. And they were nice enough to tell me that that leg right there is 3, which means this leg is also 3. So I can find the perimeter without having to do a whole lot of work. So I'm going to go ahead and add up those sides. 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 5 more gives me 12, times the height. And remember, the height is how tall it is. So that's 8. Okay, 12 times 8 gives me 96. And I have to add to that my 2 bases. So stand this triangle up if you need to. The bottom there is 3, this side is 4, and the hypotenuse is 5. If you decide to stand it up, then you have the base of 3, you have a height of 4, and, sorry, I wrote over that, and you have a height of 4. So we have 3, the base, times the height of 4 divided by 2. So 3 times 4 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6, and 6 times the 2 I already have out here on the outside is 12, and so 96 plus 12 is 108. And again, it's always squared when you're talking about area, so 108 inches squared. All right, let's keep going. I'm going to clear the page and scroll this up. So now we have these two. Same concept, same deal. I need to find the area. So I have the surface area is the lateral area plus the two bases. Okay. And so in this situation, perimeter times the height plus the two bases, which are circles. And the formula for the area of a circle is pi r squared. So that's the area of a circle. Now, again, the bases are circular. So this is the base. And this up here is the other base. Now those give us the shape, right? I need the perimeter of those circles. So you have to know, what is the perimeter of a circle? How do you figure out the outside edge of a circle? That is the same thing as the circumference. Okay, this is really important that you make note of this. The perimeter is the same thing as the circumference. And that is 2 pi times r, the circumference. So perimeter, in this case, is 2 pi r times the height plus 2 areas. Now I have everything I need in my formula. I need the radius, which they haven't quite given us, but we can get it. And we have the height. So here's our height. And if this whole thing is 3, then the radius is going to be half of that, which is going to be 1.5. Now I just have to plug it in and chug out the answer. 2 times pi times 1.5 times the height, 4. Okay, plus 2 times pi times the 1.5 squared. So remember, before you do any multiplying, anything out here, you need to make sure you square first. Exponents comes first. And I always want you to round to the nearest tenth, okay? Tenth. So we're going to do 2 times pi times 1.5 times 4, 37.7, plus, and then we're going to square the 1.5 times pi times 2 gives me 14.1, and when I add them together, I get 51.8, and its area, so centimeters squared. Okay? Now, this last one is quite the challenge, okay? And the reason is that the base itself is an octagon, and they're telling us regular octagon. Regular means all the sides are equal, and all the sides are equal. That's what that means. Just scribbled over that, sorry. Try that again. So regular means all the sides are equal, and octagon means that there are 8 sides. So all 8 sides are equal. Now here's the deal. Surface area equals the lateral area plus the 2 bases. So the lateral area is going to be the perimeter times the height. So we're good with that. We can find the perimeter of this guy because we know this is 5 and I have 8 sides. So the perimeter is going to equal 5 times the 8 sides, or 40. Okay, so perimeter is 40, and then I have the height here, which is 22. So I can get the lateral area pretty easy. Okay, 40 times 22 is 880. The tricky part comes in when we're trying to get the 2 bases, because for the base I have to do 1/2 the perimeter times the apothem. That's an A, apothem. Okay, which means I have to kind of take this figure sort of off to the side, and I'm going to have to figure out the apothem. I got to draw that little triangle in there. So if I take this little triangle out, and I need to find the apothem, and I know that the whole side is 5, I know this piece is going to be half of it, or 2.5 from the middle to the outside edge, right? And I need to get that angle in there. And you'll remember from the last chapter, to get that angle, right, we have to do 360 degrees divided by the number of sides. So we're going to divide by 8, and we're going to get 45. And then we're going to divide that in half, and that's going to give me 22.5 for my angle. Okay, so that angle in there is 22.5. And so if I'm looking for this one side, and I know this angle, I'm going to have to use trigonometry. Okay, so think way back to SOHCAHTOA, right? So, ka, TOA. I have opposite, and if that's my angle, I have the adjacent side, which means I'm going to be using the tangent. So I'm going to say the tangent of my 22.5 degree angle is equal to the opposite 2.5 over the adjacent A, which I'm looking for. And now I'm going to cross multiply. So you're going to end up doing 2.5 divided by the tan of 22.5 because we're going to cross multiply. A times the tan of 22.5 equals 2.5. And then to get A by itself, we have to divide by the tan of 22.5, which means you have to do 2.5 divided by the tan of 22.5. Be careful with your calculators. Remember to use parentheses here if you need to. And you're going to get an apothem of about 6. It's going to round to 6. So now you have what you need to put in here. We already know the perimeter is 40, and so now we can figure out the base. So a little bit of work has to go in that. You're definitely going to have to use trig, and you're definitely going to have to make sure that you remember how to find the perimeter and the angle measures. So we found the perimeter, and then we had to use all of this to get what's my angle, and then I had to use, solving a tangent to get the rest of the equation. So that's important. So finish out our formula, plus 2 times 1/2. Perimeter is 40. The apothem was 6. So 40 times 6 times 1/2 is 120 times the 2. So 880 plus 240 gives me 1120 centimeters squared. And that's how you use your formulas.